Commander Vox Zurich reclined in his gravitic command chair, the faint hum beneath him barely masking the tension in the Cultural Exchange office. His 4 eye stalks twitched reflexively as holographic data scrolled before his eyes. The report's contents felt like a sudden temperature spike in an otherwise sterile environment. "Another incident has been logged, Commander," Lieutenant Corks murmured, his mandibles clicking in a subdued rhythm. Vox exhaled slowly, the sound sharp and strained. "Let me guess," he said flatly. "A human misunderstood ceremonial breathing again?" Corks hesitated. "It's more complicated than that, sir." The lieutenant slid a data tablet across the desk. Vox scanned the report, his posture stiffening. Ambassador Drex had made an offhand remark during a security inspection, suggesting that a human officer's canine companion would be suitable as an exotic dish. The response had been immediate and violent. Officer Melia Patel had shattered the ambassador's jaw with a single blow. Silence settled heavily in the room, thick and ominous. Vox rose, planting his forearms against the desk. "A Federation ambassador was assaulted," he said slowly, disbelief creeping into his voice. "Over an animal. The human delegation is calling it provocation," Corks replied. "They insist the animal is family." The word echoed unpleasantly in Vox's thoughts. Family. Applied to a quadruped. "That makes no biological sense," Vox muttered, sinking back into his chair. Humans were apex predators, efficient, expansionist, adaptive. Yet here they were, risking diplomatic collapse over creatures that rolled in filth and chased their own tails. "Schedule transport to Earth," Vox ordered after a pause. "I want first-hand observation. I want to understand why humans would jeopardize interstellar alliances for beasts with limited cognitive capacity." 3 Earth days later, Vox stood beneath towering trees in a place called Portland, Oregon. The atmosphere was thick with moisture and organic scents, tugging uncomfortably at his joints. Nearby, humans congregated in an enclosed field where dogs ran freely, chasing projectiles with reckless joy. "You're analyzing this incorrectly," said Dr. Eliza Novick, watching a golden-furred animal sprint across the grass. "Most species domesticate for utility, labor, protection, food. Humans did something different." Vox scoffed. "It's still an animal. Its neural mass is negligible." Novick smiled faintly. "We didn't domesticate dogs for work alone. We domesticated them for companionship." She gestured to a medium-sized dog trotting toward them. "This is Rusty." The dog tilted its head and sniffed Vox's extended hand. The sensation made Vox's skin prickle. "He's judging you," Novick said softly. "Not by status. By intent." Vox withdrew his hand, unsettled. Something about this interaction defied every metric he trusted. Vox struggled to reconcile what he observed with established xenological models. Dogs responded to humans with emotional precision, anticipating movements, reacting to subtle shifts in posture and tone. It was inefficient, irrational, and persistent. "I understand cooperation," Vox said later as they walked. "I understand mutual benefit. But violence? Over a joke?" Novick stopped beside a quiet medical facility the following morning. "Then you need to see the cost of that joke." Inside the veteran rehabilitation ward, the atmosphere was muted, heavy with unspoken memories. They were introduced to Sergeant Frank Tours, a human whose eyes carried a distant, fractured stare. Beside him sat an enormous black and tan dog named Max, unmoving yet intensely alert. "Before Max, I couldn't function," Frank said evenly, his hand resting in the dog's fur. "Crowd sent me spiraling. Sleep was impossible. The memories wouldn't stop." Max shifted slightly, pressing closer. "He wakes me from nightmares. Creates space when my mind collapses. Without him, I wouldn't still be here." Frank's voice hardened. "Last year, someone tried to pull his service vest off. I broke their nose. Vox felt something stir, an unfamiliar awareness. Not comprehension, but acknowledgement. That realization deepened when Vox agreed to stay with a human family. The Parker household was chaotic and warm, filled with overlapping noises and scents. 2 adults, 2 offspring, and a mismatched rescue dog named Bandit. Vox observed silently as the youngest child climbed clumsily over Bandit's back. The animal merely shifted to support her, calm and protective. "We found him abandoned," explained Raina Parker. "Tied to a fence in winter." "You adopted him," Vox said, incredulous. "As kin?" "He needed us," Thomas Parker replied simply. "And we had room." That night, Vox noticed Bandit stationed outside the children's door, unmoving. Not sleeping. Guarding. The revelation came violently the next day. Glass shattered. 2 armed intruders forced entry. Bandit transformed instantly, muscles coiled, teeth bared, a deep warning growl vibrating through the floor. In seconds, he had disarmed one attacker, clamping onto an arm. A weapon was raised toward Thomas. "Bandit, release," Thomas commanded. The dog obeyed without hesitation, stepping back to shield the family. The injured intruder screamed and aimed again, this time at the dog. Thomas moved without thought, placing himself in front of the weapon. "If you're going to shoot," he roared, "shoot me." In that heartbeat of hesitation, Vox acted. His camouflage dropped. A static discharge incapacitated one attacker as Bandit lunged at the other. Sirens followed. Silence returned. Vox watched Thomas kneel beside Bandit, voice breaking. "Good boy." Later, as emergency lights faded into the damp evening, Vox addressed Thomas with genuine confusion. "You would have died," he said. "The animal is replaceable. You are not." Thomas looked up, scratching behind Bandit's ears. "That's where you're wrong. He isn't a pet. He's part of us." The statement lingered in Vox's thoughts long after he departed Earth. 1 week later, the Galactic Federation Council convened in emergency session. Translucent appendages waved impatiently as Counselor Nix fixed Vox with a cold stare. "You disrupted protocol over domesticated fauna," Nix said sharply. "Not fauna," Vox replied. "Partners." He activated the chamber projection. Images filled the space, dogs leading blind humans through shattered cities, alerting deaf families to fire, calming trauma victims without a word. The final image froze on Thomas Parker standing unarmed before a gun to protect Bandit. "We labeled human behavior as savage," Vox said, his gaze briefly resting on Ambassador Drex's wired jaw. "But we misunderstood. Humans form bonds beyond DNA, beyond language, even beyond survival instinct." The doors opened. Dr. Novik entered with several humans and their dogs. A beagle detected hidden contraband. A shepherd executed multi-layered commands. A therapy dog sat beside stressed council members, lowering biometric stress readings through presence alone. "The loyalty is reciprocal," Vox continued. "A species willing to die for one who cannot speak is not dangerous. It is principled." The chamber fell silent. 2 years later, the Federation looked markedly different. 15 diplomatic envoys now traveled with canine companions. Even Ambassador Drex had acquired a Labrador named Daisy, whose cheerful persistence had softened his demeanor considerably. Vox now worked from the Earth Embassy, a rescued gray dog named Scout resting comfortably against his leg. Yes, Vox murmured, scratching behind Scout's ears. "I know. It's time." Outside, crisp autumn air filled his lungs. Across the path stood Thomas Parker and Bandit. The dogs greeted each other with unrestrained joy. "Uncle Vox." Zoe called, running toward him. Vox felt warmth spread through his 4 hearts, something no data stream could quantify. He looked at Scout, then toward the horizon. The Federation had once mocked the concept of human pets. Now, they understood the truth. Sometimes, the strongest bonds in the universe exist in the quiet space between a heartbeat and a bark.